Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. And today we are going to where I personally die, which is gay fat acceptance content that drives me nuts. So, um, I think it's okay. So I got a request to talk about fat acceptance in the gay community, and I have a hard time talking about it, honestly, because in large part, it just doesn't exist, period. Like, I think that we have to be honest about that. It's just not a thing. So, the way that I see fatness or whatever, fat acceptance, etc., in the gay community is essentially like there are men that are into fat men and there are men that are not into fat men. And that's basically it. And I guess I would say for the most part, gay men that go into fat acceptance are upset that they can't get the men that don't like fat men, basically. Other than that, I think that some gay men see it as a way to get like attention or get clout or these kind of things. Or gay men are in the toxic ritualistic world themselves. So that's where you have like a William, you know. And William might be like the intersection of all three of those groups of gay men in fat acceptance, to be honest. But it's basically that. So it's kind of simple. It's like I want a guy that doesn't want me to want me. I want money and or clout, or I have a toxic ritualistic, aka you fall by the letter D. Sorry, I have to say it codedly for YouTube. Or I have that kind of issue, and so then I'm just projecting that out there. Or some kind of combination of the three. I think that this guy in particular says Toronto, Canada. Just letting you guys know that. For my Canadians, I'm letting you know. And Dr. Rachel liked this, so gosh. I don't know. I don't know. Part of me like wants to take the fall as an American for Canada's like fat acceptance spiral, and honestly Mexico's too. There's like there's something in the water over here. Like I don't know. I don't know. Something runs deep. I feel like because fat acceptance was born in the US of A, it's like it's spread through the rivers or something. I don't know. Maybe it's Pennywise, maybe throughout like the general sewage system. I don't know. The pipes. I don't understand. But part of me wants to take a little bit of blame as an American for Canada. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know. I've had people ask, they're like, why do you think it's so prolific in Canada? And I'm like, I honestly think it's the proximity. I think so, because it's literally like both of our neighbors. So I'm like, ooh, oof. But anyways, let's get into this. So that's all the thoughts that I'm going into this with. As you can see, I'm really feeling bright and cheery about this. Other than that, just I guess to give a brief experience of my experience with it, yeah, I mean, it's pretty typical in the sense that when you're big, you are cut off from a lot of guys, but there are still guys that are attracted to you. So there's that side too. And then there's even guys that FETISH eyes you too, especially when you're very big. Like I was very big. So it's not great. I think there's some dehumanizing aspects of that, but honestly, there's just struggles in gay dating period. I think there's struggles in dating period these days, but there's always been struggles in gay dating for a lot of different reasons. There's public perception issues, there's closeted issues, there's gay men coming to terms with what they're attracted to or not. Like, there's just all this stuff. There's all these attachment style issues. There's just a lot of stuff. There's a lot to it. So it's hard to separate. And that's also why I have a hard time talking about it, because there's just so many different layers. And there is like a very big toxic, ritualistic, E fall by the letter D influence within gay spaces. I think it's just because there's, like with anybody, there's people that have been traumatized. And so they go to these issues. I myself went to the issue. I wasn't specifically, I will say, only traumatized on the issue of gayness. It was a part of it, but it was all like around my dad and stuff. And he was very like iffy and judgy about how feminine I was as a child. But it's like, that wasn't the only thing that was going on. So, but it was a part of it. So it's kind of like, I could see that happening to a lot of gay men, or I don't know. It's tough. I don't know what to tell you. It's a little bit tough, and for some people it's worse than for others. And so when you combine the fatness issue with it, I think there's a lot of times where gay men, they want to talk about these deeper issues they have, but they feel like they can't criticize gay men because gay men can't take criticism, even though they're willing to give it 20,000 times a day. And that is some shade. I have some shade to give to the gay community because I care about it enough to criticize some things, but not enough to like take up an activistic cause. Not that I don't care at all, but you get me. I chose this, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I'm rambling here. The point is, I do care. I care enough to criticize certain things, but I'm also like, we're kind of on our own in a way. It's hard. So, in my opinion, the gay community is a bit of a myth. I don't think it's real. And I think it's just, there's a lot of lost people in general. So anyways, I think some of it's inherent to how it will always be, because it's like you don't know who's going to end up gay, basically. It's like freaking whack-a-mole or something, It's one of those things. So it's like you're usually the only gay person in your family. You're usually the only gay person at times in your class or in your school. Or like even when I was in Los Angeles, it was like there were 300 employees at the company I worked at, and 3 of them were gay, including me. In Los Angeles, one of the gayest cities in the entire world. So there's that too. So it's like, it's just tough. It's harder. I think we can say that. It's harder. Okay? It's harder to date. It just is. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. I'm sure that this won't be him projecting his issues with being gay onto fatness at all. People tend to use the toxic ritualistic to avoid talking about real issues. Even for me, I'm like, ooh, I'm uncomfortable talking about this, But I'm trying to lead by example and being like, hey, I can talk about it without bringing fatness into it all the time, okay? Or without talking about my body or whatever. That's very TR. So I think that that's what he's doing, which I don't know where he's from. I've told you guys, I can't recognize his accent. But I just assume he's from somewhere in Europe. And I guess he's in Canada. I don't know. I don't really know. It's confusing to me. But anyways, let's get into this. The right kind of man. For a lot of gay men, it doesn't start with a person. It starts with an image. You're young, maybe 13 or 14, when you catch yourself staring at an underwear ad. Shirtless men, perfect abs, low-rise briefs. You look a second too long. That moment doesn't just introduce desire, it quietly introduces a standard. Before you've, sorry, I'm getting so irritated already. Oh my God. It's irritating. This stuff is irritating to me. Before you've even figured out who you are, you've already been shown what you're supposed to want and what you're supposed to be. For gay men, those two things blur together quickly. The same body becomes both the object of your desire and the standard you measure yourself against. Okay, so this is not a universally gay experience. It's just not. So there's a lot of gay men like myself who are kind of rebellious or who grew up a little bit rebellious. I told you guys that, like when I was at my evangelical Christian school, like I played dress up with the girls, and there was a part of me that liked rebelling a little bit, even being so young. I'm sure you're shocked. Some of these things are born within us, okay? And I don't want to hear no homophobic people being like, well, that's why you're gay, because you're gay to be a rebel. No, that's not true either. Clearly, this guy is not a rebel. He's trying so hard to be liked. And I'm not even going to judge him. I'm tired of that. I'm not going to judge him wanting to be liked. That was me being a bitch. It's okay to want to be liked, okay? The point is, clearly, that's not the case for every gay man. There's a lot of gay men who are not rebellious at all, who do everything they can to be perfect and all that stuff. So, no, just stop. Just stop, please. But my issue with this is that. So for me, personally, I had internalized issues about being gay. So I kind of knew I was, but I didn't want to be, which I think is also typical, although, of course, not universal either. Okay? So, again, there's also these daddy issues I had and all this crap, which that's like a whole other stereotype. But before the homophobes get started, there's plenty of straight men that have daddy issues too. So please stop. It's not, I don't know, whatever. This is why I don't want to talk about it, because it's annoying. Okay. The point is, oh God. It's just, I think there is this, like, there's something to what he's saying, but it's not all there. So what I will say is this. Okay. I am struggling. For whoever asked me to talk about this, I hope that you're happy, because I am struggling. When it comes to gay men in particular, there, or at least a part of my experience, or I think a part of a lot of gay men's experiences, is that jealousy runs really deep. And within dating, jealousy is not just about romantic jealousy. It can also be about jealousy of qualities the other person has. And that can be really, really sharp. And I think it's something that gay men need to work to not do. You need to get to a place of like, he is him, I am me. I have qualities he likes, he has qualities I like, that's okay. That can be tough. So I think what he's mentioning is that aspect a little bit. So it's like he's attracted to the underwear model, but he's also jealous of the underwear model, which when you layer that on top of a toxic ritualistic thing, it can be really bad. So then it gets like DIS ordered, okay? But I think what I was trying to say earlier is like I had internalized issues, so I didn't want to admit it, basically. Or I didn't want to get close to gay men. Or I didn't want to deal with gay men trying to control me and these kind of things. I'm very feminine. I present very feminine. A lot of gay men are very, very gender rolled, which I don't think that's necessarily wrong. It's okay. Like, I'm not judging anybody. Some aren't, some are, but a lot are. Or at least with me, they are, because I'm so feminine. So they want to be in charge. They want to do all these things. And I have trust issues, or at least I did. I'm better now. Okay, I am. If Mr. Doherty's listening, I'm better, I promise. It's going to be okay. But anyway, as Charlie XCX says, I'm not a bad girl anymore, I promise, okay? But anyway, when Auntie was not Auntie, when Auntie was young, it was very hard. It was very sharp. And I also would avoid guys that I was attracted to because they were often straight. And it was just kind of dangerous or precarious. Both, it could be physically dangerous, but also reputationally dangerous. And so I just didn't want to admit things a lot of the time. And again, it was also like a coping mechanism because of like the whole daddy issues thing. And it's like he was awful and then he wasn't there. So it's like, I don't need him. I need distance from him, right? So that's where that was born from. So the point is, it's not a universal experience. Different people have different interactions between their gayness and their first attraction. And then there are some people who aren't ever really closeted either. There are some gay men that didn't ever really struggle with that because it was either accepted or they just didn't care at all. That happens too. So I think it's important for us to understand that there can be like experiences that are similar across the spectrum. Like, for example, dating being harder. That's true. Finding love being harder. That's true. Finding commitment being harder. That's true. As Gracie Abrams says, that's so true. It is. And that is my life. No, I'm just kidding. But it's true. Okay. But that being said, that doesn't mean every experience a gay man has is universally gay or universal to being gay. So, no. Okay? It's not going to be the same thing for every gay man. By the time many of us find community, quote unquote, love that he put it in quotes, I kind of feel that way too. We don't arrive with a blank slate. We arrive already trained to compare, to rank, and to understand which bodies get attention. So some of this is also, men are more competitive in general. So when you have a dating pool that's all men are going to compete. Men are going to be competitive, and I understand that being competitive can be seen as masculine. But there's a lot of women who are competitive too, A lot of my girly pops that I love are competitive. Like Taylor Swift, she's super fucking competitive. Oh my God. And I'm still obsessed with Olivia Rodrigo, and she's super competitive too. So it's not necessarily a masculine or feminine thing. But in general, men in general are more competitive. So when you have a dating pool of all men, basically, it's going to be more competitive. So some of it is just inherent to being gay, okay? But again, when you have the toxic ritualistic layer of body comparison and body competition, which is true within zombie activity, within E fall by letter D, then it's even sharper and it can be even worse. So you already have like this powder keg and you have that spark that makes it into a full-blown flame. And that can be dangerous in a sense, or psychologically precarious as a gay man to have E fall by the letter D and be in this inherently competitive space. And just for the record, to all my gays, there is intra-sexual competition in heterosexual dynamics too. And it can be pretty cutthroat as well. So it's not even just a gay experience, it's also a human experience, period. So we need to acknowledge that that's a part of dating too. Competition is a part of dating, which people don't like that, but it's true. But, I'm just I'm a mean auntie for pointing it out. I'm mean. I shouldn't say that because it should be butterflies and rainbows. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not butterflies and rainbows. Not really for anybody, but I would say probably especially not for gay men. Open almost any dating app and you can still feel that hierarchy. It may be less explicit than it once was, but it hasn't disappeared. We've simply learned to call it preference, a word that often lets us avoid asking where our desires came from in the first place. So I just want to say this. To a lot of gay men, their desires are sacred because their desires are highly scrutinized, demonized in some circumstances. Again, I'm not speaking universally, but I'm speaking in terms of trends, or pathologized, or all of these different things. So a lot of gay men, I would say me too, I'm included in this, we are very guarded over our preferences. So for him to say this, it is a way to piss off a lot of gay men at the same time. I do not like it at all. And I think a lot of gay men don't like it because the last thing that we want is to have to deal with, at times growing up and being policed and judged and demonized and at times even ostracized, or even worse cases, although it's less common in recent years than it was like in the 80s. You know, there could be violence and these types of things, right? Over it. So when you're like, and in a lot of places in the world, it's still that way, for the record. But regardless, when you have this situation, you become very guarded and protective over your preferences. And the last thing you want is to be shamed by another gay man who should understand. It's disgusting. It's really disgusting. And it's kind of like being a gay man and outing another gay man. It's vicious in a way. Like, I don't think I mean, I think he might understand it, but I think he's just bitter. I think he's very, very bitter. So the point is, he's not going to be popular with this, I don't think. Maybe he is going to be within some niche, but it's not very like, this is kind of, Jeopardy, what are some ways to piss off gay men in general? You know? That's what this is to me. That's what I see. So I'm like, ew, 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 ew. Don't like. Okay. This isn't unique to gay men. Straight men are increasingly pulled into their own version through the manosphere, where the body becomes something to optimize and control rather than simply live in. Body shame is repackaged as motivation, and if you're not lean, muscular, or masculine enough, it starts to feel like more than a physical shortcoming. The body becomes the entry point into a much larger story about worth, status, and who deserves respect. So when you get into those types of conversations, where we're talking about worth and things like that, I respect, status maybe not as much, but certainly worth and respect, that's a little bit toxic ritualistic. We're getting into E fall by the letter D, which there are some men that are going through that, and there always have been. If you haven't noticed, there's a lot of men in the fitness sphere that die very young. It's because they have toxic ritualistic issues, and at times very severely so. So they literally unalive over it. If I'm remembering correctly, I think somebody just passed away at 32. Told you, the TR graveyard of the 30s. So it's not great, but that's not men in general. That's not fitness in general. That's a specific issue that, again, doesn't have a gender. It doesn't. The toxic ritualistic, I've told you guys, it has no race, gender, belief system, anything. It's Pennywise. It can take the form of anything. It's not anybody. Most people don't have it, but anybody can have it. Does that make sense? So, anyways. All right. As far as like if you're not lean, muscular, or masculine enough, that type of stuff, it's like intrasexual competition, and it's just like a pissing contest. And if you want to be a part of that, that's fine. If you don't, that's also fine. Whatever. I'm not in a competition for who's the most masculine. I'll put it to you that way. I'm not. And I survive every day. I'm fine. There's plenty of hetero guys that are not super masculine or whatever, and they have girlfriends and wives, and they're fine. It's like, I don't know. Be you. Do you. Be happy as you can be, you know? Anyways. But if you want to be in the competition, you want to do all that stuff, that's also fine too. I don't really care, honestly. It's fine. It is what it is, you know? I don't know. He's just mad because I think he wants to be in that competition and he's not doing it. So it's like, okay, well then just let it go. Like, I'm not, like, I'm competitive, but I'm competitive in different ways. I'm competitive in terms of like, I'm right and you're wrong. I'm that kind of annoying Poindexter introvert competitive. I'm a competitive activist. I've had competitive moments in like personal beefs and like feuds and things like that, you know. I was the girly pop that, like, when I was young, I wanted to win the breakup type of bullshit thing, which I never did, by the way. I never did. Introverts never win. We never win. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe some do, but not me. This girly pop didn't. And I'm sorry, but I don't know if Olivia's winning it either. But she's a girl after my own heart in that way. So Auntie feels for her, but she's trying. She's trying to win. And I'm like, girl, just chill. Just chill, please. But anyways, I don't want to get too far into the weeds with that. But making a song after his favorite band and all that, and then having a guest appearance by his favorite singer is a little crazy. Livy, it's a little crazy, okay? But anyways, I do love her though. She's endlessly entertaining. I love Olivia. Anyways, okay. The point is, I'm getting distracted. Oh man. Okay. All right. I see the impact of this every day through my coaching and workshops. I'm not talking to men who are lazy or unmotivated. I'm talking to men who are exhausted from trying to fix something that was never actually broken. Well, I think there's a lot of gay men too that want nurturance too. And I think that it can be hard to find in the gay community, and it can be confusing, and some guys are more nurturing than others. And so it's like a lot of guys want that, but they don't know how to find it. And then it's weird. And then everybody has attachment issues. Like, it's just weird. Like, I would say I am more of a nurturing type. So guys that have been into me have been seeking that. But I think that can happen in the gay community because it's just confusing. It's really confusing. You don't have any guidance. You don't know what you're looking for. You don't know what you like. You don't know who you are. It's hard. There's no guidance. You're on your own. You don't know what you need. And then almost everybody has attachment style issues on top of it. So then even if you find what you need, it's like really difficult to make it work. It's a lot. So I'm just saying, like, I think that tends to be what happens too. And there isn't a lot of like friendship in the gay community. It's typically like there's a lot of like hookup culture and that kind of stuff, or just outright avoidance, you know? So it's just tricky. And I'm not saying that is the case for every single person, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm talking in generalizations here, okay? I'm trying to be general. Like, I've told you guys, I'm not a hookup girly pop. That's just not me. But it's common in the gay world, but it's also, there's a lot that are not too. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. It's a lot. Do you see why I don't like to talk about this? Because it's a lot to unpack here, okay? It's difficult. So, again, I think he's trying to put it onto the body issue. And then it's like these men that are going to his coaching, they're trying to get nurturance. And so they're trying to get it from him. Or maybe they're trying to find friendship or an actual sense of gay community that doesn't really exist in any other space or in any other way. So it's like, it's putting a lot of pressure like on fitness. That's all I'm going to say. It's putting a lot. And it's like, oh gosh, like that's tough. It's like, just be careful with that and don't be like, I think you need to be professional as a coach too. So it's just a lot. Because your body isn't the project, your relationship to it is. Sorry, that's just. If you're a coach, then the body is the project. Okay. Like, just please. And if that relationship is built on shame, changing your body won't fix it. It just changes the shape of the problem. You end up chasing a slightly different version of the same thing, still feeling like you're not quite there yet. I've seen it in guys just starting out and in guys who technically got the body they thought would fix everything. It doesn't go away. It just hides better. So again, I think that there's a lot of times where it's like a lot of gay men need to. This is so cheesy to say, but I don't know what else to say. I'm going to have to say it. A lot of gay men need to be told that they are enough. They need to have like that moment. And it's because they probably didn't get that growing up because they were gay. Maybe it wasn't good enough or something for their family or something. Or maybe there's just other issues. I don't know, right? I have the other issue because I have like the daddy issue thing. So it's different. Like for me, I struggle with feeling safe, or I struggle with feeling protected, or like in that sense, or like I struggle with receiving help and these kind of things, or I have. Let me put that in the past tense to all that. If Mr. Jordy's listening, past tense. I told you I'm not a bad girl anymore. I promise. I already told you. But anyways, the point is, I more so had those issues, which those are super common in the gay community too. But then there's this side too, where it's like a lot of gay men just need to be told that they are enough, or they need to have that sense of like, again, it's like a nurturance side of it too. And I understand it. I do. I really do. And they think that the pathway to that is to get in shape, and okay, I'll get acceptance, or it will be enough if I get in shape. But it's typically not that. It's like you're going to have to probably find a real relationship that has intimacy, that's deep, where you're accepted, where you are loved for who you are, and all these things, which I know that sounds very like cheesy and girly pop-ish and stuff, but it's something that's probably lacking in their life. And if you don't find it, that's okay too. I understand. A lot of gay men don't find it. And I think that's a conversation people don't want to have either. But it does, even a lot of straight people don't find love. I mean, it's something that happens. You know what I'm saying? In general, it just is. So it's a human issue again, but for some reason with gay men, it's like it cuts deeper for some reason. And so it's like at the end of the day, you just need to be told that kind of thing, and maybe you need to find some girl space friends or something that can be more nurturing towards you or something. Like you have to you can find community. You can find that itch can be scratched even outside of a relationship. And I think within the fitness space and stuff, you just don't want it to be tied to your body in that way. It's a little bit TR. And you don't want to be manipulated by guys like this, either, because he has a TR issue. He's within the toxic ritualistic. He's a mild case, but he's in it. So it's like you don't want to be manipulated by him. You don't want to become a stage 1 zombie because he's manipulating you. I don't want you to be manipulated, But that being said, there are real issues that do need to be spoken to in the gay community that aren't toxic ritualistic, that have nothing to do with body, you know? So it's a lot to unpack. And I don't know if he's just doing that thing where it's like, I'm going to put all these issues onto this issue. That's very common. That's a very TR thing. Remember that the obsession with the body is a way to distance yourself from real topics or to distract yourself from bigger issues. That's the point. That's a part of the coping mechanism. And I think that's what he's doing. I think that that's absolutely what he's doing here. Okay. So, okay. The fitness and wellness world doesn't really challenge that cycle. It runs on it. Fat phobia isn't some side effect. It's built in. You see it in before and after photos. Now we're getting into the talking points. In the ever-pervasive language of transformation, in the constant message that a bigger body is something temporary, something to correct. That's because you're in a fitness space and you're dealing with coaches. And a coach, if you're going to pay somebody to coach you, then they should be able to help you get a result. If they can't, then they're a failure as a coach. So they're going to be very result focused, and they should be, because you're paying them for something specific. They're not your therapist. They're not they're not a sense of that community. They're not necessarily your friend. They're not necessarily any of those things. You're paying them. And some coaches are manipulative, so I don't like that. But it's like you're paying them for a service and they better deliver on that service. That's how I feel about it, So I understand why they're focused on results. They should be. It would be stupid if they weren't. That's not fat phobia. They're trying to do a job that you're hiring them for, or they're trying to sell a job to you. So of course they're going to talk about it. It's just so I am always amazed at the ability for fat acceptance types to take something personal that is not personal whatsoever. It literally isn't. Okay? Anyways, what makes it more complicated is that it's often framed as care, health, discipline, and self-improvement. It is. It's all those things. Getting in shape is all those things, as long as it's not done in a toxic, ritualistic way with substances and overly harsh, times, I don't know, at the GYM and a healthful diet that's appropriate and all those things. Of course, we need to have all that in place. Otherwise, it's not healthy, in my opinion. So, anyways, on the surface, it all sounds reasonable, but underneath that, blankety blank, the toxic ritualistic gets ignored. Body dysmorphia gets normalized, and the reality of living in a body that doesn't fit the standard barely gets acknowledged. Add sexuality into that, add the pressure of desirability within gay spaces, and most people operating in that world are completely unequipped to deal with it. So, again, we're getting back into some of the gay issues. And all I have to say is, honestly, to the bottom of my heart, God help the gay man that is a people pleaser, because I cannot imagine how hard that must be. To my core, I mean that. It must be so difficult. And I thank God I am not a people pleaser and gay at the same time. It is just, that combination must be so difficult. I could almost cry for you guys, because it's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's what are you even supposed to be or whatever? And I'm super girly pop and cheesy, and I'm you need to be you. That's how I feel. I'm you need to be yourself. But I know that that's easier said than done for a people pleaser type. And it's just a whole host of confusion. It's very confusing. And for me, I'm not a people pleaser. So I had to deal with my own internalized issues, and I had to deal with my own avoidance and all these things. And that was hard enough because it's tough. When you're introverted, you have a toxic ritualistic issue, you have all these problems, you got all this self-hate and all these things inside, it's really difficult to deal with in and of itself. But I didn't have to, like, I didn't care about what anybody else thought. So I had to deal with like an internal battle. A lot of gay men have to deal with an external battle. That's tough. It's very tough. Okay. Anyways, um, but I think it's important to separate the toxic ritualistic from those valid issues that are there. So it's tough. It's tough. It is hard. Your body isn't the project, your relationship to it is. That isn't to say there's only one kind of desire. Communities like the bear community have always celebrated bodies that fall outside the mainstream ideal. And I see the same shift in many of my clients. They're not trying to become smaller, they're trying to become stronger, more grounded, more at home in their bodies. But those spaces exist alongside the dominant narrative. It's never going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. This person has an E followed by letter D. It will never be enough for him. But those spaces exist alongside the dominant narrative, not instead of it. Why do you have to change it? Why do you feel like you have to change what gay men are attracted to? Like, don't you think that's kind of insane or kind of weirdly controlling? Don't you think that's a little DIS ordered of you to be that upset about it? It's just, oh gosh. Oof. Anyways. Different standards exist, yet they're still treated as exceptions. That's exactly why body positivity, or whatever language you prefer, still matters, especially for men whose bodies are rarely included in that conversation unless they already fit the ideal. And when they are, it's often through irony. If a body can only be accepted as a joke, it isn't really being accepted, it's being tolerated. I am just like, what the hell? I think we're getting into zombie territory with this. I'm like, what the fuck? You gotta like, out here, you guys. You gotta be ready to fight, okay? Because this is getting into like some weird. I'm hearing the stalker moans. I'm hearing like I'm hearing it. Because I don't even know what he's saying. I think I lost that one. I'm like, what? I don't even know. Let me try to like dig within the recesses of the residual toxic ritualistic within. That's exactly why body positivity, or whatever language you prefer, still matters, especially for men whose bodies are rarely included in that conversation unless they already fit the ideal. What? I'm like, honestly, like, what? And when they are, it's often through irony. Like, are you just complaining about a lack of attention? Is that what it is? But like when I was big, I didn't want my body to be a conversation. So I don't get it. Is it an attention thing? I don't get it. If a body can only be accepted as a joke, it isn't really being accepted, it's being tolerated. I don't get it. I'm literally like, what the hell? I need help with that. I'm like, whoa. Okay. Okay. That's part of why this project exists, working with Anthony, whoever, I'm not even going to try to pronounce names right now, whose work has influenced me for years. And we took one of the most recognizable visual formats in male desirability, the classic underwear ad, and removed the unspoken rule about who gets to be in it. No parody, no irony, no wink, just a body. I didn't even notice. I didn't even think about it. I wasn't even paying attention. That must be what he's talking about. He's like, you don't pay attention to me. I don't. I didn't even notice it. Sorry. Just a body presented in the same way those bodies have always been presented. And if that feels provocative, it's worth asking why. Okay. It doesn't. I didn't even care that much, to be honest. I was more like, ew. Like when I looked at this, I wasn't even thinking about how he looked. I was just like, oh gosh, what kind of dribble is this going to be? I'm going to have to talk about the gay community. That's like a sticky topic, or it's a tough issue. It's just a lot to unpack, okay? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to talk about this. And then it's going to be all this and da da da. And I'm like, don't be too Poindexter, Alex, because sometimes I get cold when I'm nervous, where I get a little too Poindextery. My inner Virgo side kicks in, and I'm like, E equals MC squared. Like I start talking like that, and I'm like, I can't do that with this. It's like, I gotta do better than that. So then I'm trying, and like, that's what I was thinking about. I'm not thinking about how you look. I'm not. And maybe that's the problem. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Maybe that's the problem. I wasn't thinking about it. We removed the unspoken rule about who gets to be in. We're living through another moment where the pressure to conform is being repackaged as wellness. Downsizing becomes health, shrinking becomes self-care. But the message underneath is often the same. Your body is a problem. Fix it. Obesity is a problem. It's a fixable issue. Okay? That's what it is. It's at its face, if we take out the E fall by the letter D logic and all that stuff that goes into it, it's pretty simple. Obesity is an issue that is fixable. And it should be fixed. That's it. Okay? It's not anything more than that. Okay. That's why placing a body like mine into the same visual language matters. It asks a different question. What if the body was never the problem? But bodies like this aren't unfinished. They're not before photos or cautionary tales. Like, I'm all for being creative and stuff. Like, I'm very supportive. I know a lot of gay men are very creative. I love it. It's one of my favorite things about gay men. But it's kind of like, just do your thing. I don't know. People will like it or they won't. That's life too, People like your art or they don't. But I'm sure he has enough fans for him. I just don't think it'll ever be enough, They are just bodies existing right now and fully capable of being desired, not just by others, but by the person living in them. What? They are just bodies? Sorry, what? Oh, they're not unfinished, sorry. Bodies like this aren't unfinished. They're not before photos or cautionary tales. They are just bodies existing right now and fully capable of being desired, not just by others, but by the person living in them. It's just not healthy. It's not that deep. It's not healthy. Just stop. And that part matters more than anything else, because no one builds a life from a place of self-rejection. You don't hate yourself into a version of yourself you love. For a lot of us, for me, it was just like, stop being so like obsessed with how you look, or stop being so obsessed with your body, or stop being so obsessed with your diet, or stop being so obsessed with these things. Like, for me, it was just like a reverse one wish willow. Like, I had to just like break the TR willow tree. I don't know. I had to get out of it. It wasn't that. It wasn't me. Your DIS order is not you. That's been something I've preached the whole time. It's not you. It's a disorder. So get out. Then you find you. Then you can find some ugly parts of you too. Like I did. Like my funky ass avoidance. You have to you just do better. I don't know. You just find yourself, stop. Just stop. I don't care if who you are or if you're gay or not. Being in the TR is just not it. It just isn't it. It's not acceptable, and it's not who you are. So hating the DI disorder is not hating you. Wanting to get out of the DI disorder is not hating yourself. That's crazy. That's literally crazy. But a lot of the disorder is hating yourself. So, but I just think he's trying to find an answer to his issue and he just hasn't found it, which is unfortunate. Or he just doesn't want to actually get out. It's like, I want to stay in the DIS order and not have the self-hatred. It's like this weird thing, but they literally are tied together. So it's like, to me, I'm like, well, good luck. Good luck keeping Pennywise around and having him not try to kill you, you know? Here, we know how I do. Okay, this is what I do to Pennywise. I don't play around. But anyways, I don't play with Pennywise. If I see that balloon, I'm going to be like this. And you'd be shocked at what my aim could be. When Auntie is ready to fight, Auntie can fight. Okay? I'm sure y'all know. You've seen enough. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways. I'm more of a verbal person. I'm more of a verbal fighter. But anyways. We don't need to get into Auntie's, you know. We don't need to go there right now, okay? The point is, I will shoot that balloon dead. Okay? Not because you finally changed enough, but because you decide you're done negotiating with the standard that was never built for you in the first place. Oh, I skipped a part. Okay. If you're still living like that's true. Oh, sorry. Gosh, it's like it's all one thing. It's like my brain can't tell what's one piece of it. What, like, it's like this. It's very zombie. This is all like stalker moans, basically. For a lot of us, you don't hate yourself into a version of yourself you love. Okay. For a lot of us, the first message we ever get about our bodies was that they weren't enough. If you're still living like that's true, still trying to earn your way into being acceptable, still treating your body like a problem to solve rather than a place to live, maybe this is where that shifts, not because you finally changed enough, but because you decide you're done negotiating with the standard that was never built for you in the first place. I think it's not helpful to deal with, like, stop putting gay issues onto your body. Let's just stop that as a collective. Let's deal with the real issues. If you're struggling with being gay, let's talk about that. That's my point. Don't put that on your body. That is TR. Okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I thought we were having a nice date. Don't do that. No, no, no. No. Don't. So anyways, okay. No, let's see. Okay, I think I'm almost done. Some standards deserve to be challenged, not chased. It's not about the standards. It's about, like, you have to, like, accept being gay and all this stuff, and it's like a whole thing, for one. And for two, it's about the toxic ritualistic, which I think having issues with being gay can definitely be a toxic ritualistic drive. It's a very common one. It was certainly one for me as well. But I think you gotta let go of the TR and you gotta find a way to deal with being gay that is healthy. So that's Auntie's opinion. That's where I'm at. And I hope I did a good enough job. This was hard. It's hard to talk about because it's a lot more complicated. When it comes to gayness and the gay community and all that stuff, it's a lot more complicated than losing weight or obesity or whatever. It's just a lot. I do think the obesity crisis is very complicated too, but it's like, I already picked my cause. I'm sorry. But anyways, I love y'all. I'm out. I hope you guys have a good one. And I hope that helped in some way. I tried not to be too Poindexter. I really did. This is very, like, touchy-feely for me. And I am an emotional girly pop, but it's like I get nervous because I don't want to do this a disservice, if that makes any sense. But I tried. I'm learning that. It's part of my avoidance. You show up and you try. If you're an avoidant person, you try. Always try. It's okay. If it's not perfect. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.